Forget the world you left behind. The hum of your bedside fan, the blue light of your screen, the distant rhythmic pulse of the city, they are all evaporating. Your room is dissolving into a damp, heavy mist. You aren't just falling asleep tonight. You are falling through time. Your hand brushes against cold, wet moss, thick, ancient, and heavy, with the silver condensation of a night that feels much older than the one you left. This is not a dream. Reach out your fingers. Feel the grit of the black earth, the sharpness of the frost, the weight of the soil. This is the texture of the 1300s. Breathe in. There is no plastic here, no exhaust, no chemical perfume of the modern age. Just the raw, sharp scent of peat smoke drifting from a distant hearth, mixed with the metallic, clean tang of ozone and the heavy, sweet rot of a forest floor that has never known a pesticide. It is the smell of a world that is still half wild, breathing alongside you in the dark. The silence here is the first thing that will truly haunt you. It isn't the digital silence of a quiet room, but a physical, pressing weight. There is no background radiation of technology, no hum of appliances, no invisible waves of Wi-Fi passing through your bones. For the first time in your life, the world is perfectly, terrifyingly still. You are wrapped in a velvet darkness that hasn't seen the spark of a light bulb for 700 years. You are safe in this cradle of the past, hidden in a place where no satellite can find you. As you lie there, trying to steady your breathing, a faint, ghostly pulse thumps against your thigh, a familiar rhythmic vibration that feels like a heartbeat from another life. You reach into your pocket and pull out a small rectangular object. The screen flares to life, and for a second, the blue light is blinding an alien sun screaming in this medieval darkness. 3% battery. You see the digital clock, the date, the useless signal bars searching for a network that won't be built for centuries. This glowing shard of glass is the last vibrating piece of the 21st century you will ever hold. It is a lighthouse with no shore, a compass pointing to a world that, for you, has ceased to exist. You watch the screen fade to black, and as the light dies, you realize you are truly alone in the heart of medieval England. But do not let the panic rise. Do not let your heart race. In this era, the darkness is not a threat. It is a blanket. It is the natural state of the world. The people of this time do not fear the night. They respect it. They fold themselves into it. Breathe with the forest. Let the raw, cold air fill your lungs and settle your nerves. You are safe in the shadows, because in this deep, absolute black, no one can see that you don't belong. You are a ghost in the margins of a history book that is still being written. The night is your protector. The mud is your foundation. As you lie still, the moon finally begins to crest over the jagged line of the horizon, casting long pale shards of silver through the dense canopy. The world begins to resolve itself into shapes. The silhouettes of ancient oaks, their branches like gnarled fingers reaching for the stars, begin to emerge from the gloom. You are at the edge of a great forbidden forest, a place of royal law and deep, tangled legend. The trees are watching. They are ancient, indifferent, and steady. Follow the silver light as it dances on the leaves. Let the rhythm of the wind through the high timber guide your spirit deeper into the stillness. The night is just beginning, and the path into the old world is starting to reveal itself beneath the shadows of the oaks. Tonight, you aren't just a traveler. You are part of the earth itself. Listen to the silence. It is telling you that you are exactly where you need to be. Sleep will come, but first, You must learn to walk in the dark. You stand up, moving with a deliberate, heavy slowness that feels as if you are wading through a dream. Your modern shoes, the ones designed for flat pavement and sterile, climate-controlled floors, sink deep into the thick, yielding mud of a world before concrete. Feel the resistance. The ground here is not a dead, static surface. It is a living, breathing layer of history. It clings to your soles with a wet, rhythmic suction, a soft, repetitive squelchy that echoes faintly against the massive, broad trunks of the ancient trees. With every single step, the cool dampness of the earth seems to pull at you, grounding you, reminding you that you are no longer walking on the thin surface of the modern world, but deep within its very skin. Let your senses expand into the void. Now that the initial shock of the silence has settled into your bones, the world begins to speak to you through its scents. Breathe in, slowly. Pull the midnight air all the way down into the base of your lungs. It is a complex, layered atmosphere that no modern city could ever replicate. It is thick, unrefined, and ancient. First, there is the heavy, organic smell of wet wool. Imagine a thick, hand-spun cloak, saturated by 100 autumn rainstorms and dried by 1,000 peat fires in a smoke-filled cottage. It is a scent of lanolin, animal musk, and deep earth, rugged, honest, and strangely comforting in its primal weight. Then, cutting through the dampness like a silver blade, comes the sharp, resinous bite of pine and fir. The trees are bleeding their sap into the night air, releasing a clean, piercing fragrance that feels cold against the back of your throat. It is a scent that has remained unchanged for 10,000 years, a constant in a world that is about to change forever. And then, drifting on a stray, wandering current of wind, comes the most primal scent of all, the ghost of a nearby peat fire. It is earthy, smoky, and slightly sweet. It is the smell of ancient bogs being burned in a hearth miles away, the only source of light and warmth for a family huddled together in a timber-framed house you cannot yet see. This is the scent of survival. It is a thin, fragile ribbon of human presence in a vast, untamed landscape that stretches out into the unknown. Let that smoke settle in your hair. Let it wrap around your senses like a heavy velvet shroud. As you move through the gloom, reach out your hand. Brush your palm against the bark of an ancient oak. It is rough, like a topographical map of a mountain range, carved by centuries of relentless wind and biting frost. It is a texture that tells a story of survival. Feel the damp moss that blankets the northern side. It is soft, cool, and holds onto the night's moisture like a living sponge. Reach down and touch the ferns. They are brittle with the night's chill, shivering under your touch. Everything here has a tactile truth, a weight that demands your attention. The air itself feels thick, almost liquid, as if you are swimming through a sea of invisible silk. In this world, you begin to realize a profound and humbling truth. Darkness isn't just an absence of light. It's a physical weight you have to carry. In your own time, the dark was just a backdrop, a minor inconvenience, or a canvas for street lamps and neon signs. But here, in the 14th century, the dark is a substance. It occupies the space between the trees, like a heavy dark wine poured into a vessel. It presses against your skin, forcing you to stop relying on your eyes and start trusting the soles of your feet, the tilt of your head, and the rhythm of your ears. You are not just looking at the night, you are wearing it. It is a cloak that hides your modern face, your confusion, and the lingering fear of being discovered. Let that weight settle you. Let it push the frantic, lingering thoughts of the future out of your mind. There are no notifications here. No vibrating interruptions in your pocket. No flickering screens demanding your immediate attention or your emotional labor. There are no emails waiting in the digital void. No deadlines chasing your peace. No electronic ghosts whispering of things undone or social obligations unfulfilled. Those things belong to a dream of a distant future that hasn't even been imagined yet. They are as thin as air. Here, in the deep timber of medieval England, the only rhythm that truly matters is the steady, slow, thumping cadence of your own heartbeat. In the absolute silence, listen to it. Dot, thumpint, dot, thump is a steady drumbeat. It is the same drumbeat that echoed in the chests of the farmers, the monks, the outlaws, and the lonely travelers who stood exactly where you are standing 700 years ago. You are connected to them now, not by technology or bloodline, but by the simple, ancient, and sacred act of breathing. You are small in this landscape, a tiny spark in a vast darkness, and in that smallness, there is a profound, unshakable peace. You don't have to be anyone important tonight. You don't have to achieve anything or prove your worth to anyone. You only have to exist. The night asks nothing of you but your quiet presence. Feel the cool dampness of the air on your cheeks, like a cold, gentle hand calming a fever. The smell of the pine, the damp wool, and the distant peat smoke are your only companions. You are hidden. You are safe. You are becoming part of the landscape itself, a shadow among shadows, a breath among the trees. The forest does not care where you came from, what year you were born in, or what your name is. It only cares that you are here now, standing in its mud, breathing its air. But as you drift deeper into this sensory trance, as your mind begins to let go of the modern world, you notice a subtle, inevitable shift. The deep, royal blue of the midnight sky is beginning to lose its intensity, turning into a pale, ghostly shade of charcoal. The stars, once so bright and piercing, are starting to faint and recede into the gray. The sun will eventually rise, and with the light comes the judgment of the living. To survive the morning, you cannot remain a creature of the future. You cannot walk these woods or enter a village in fabrics that glow, or shoes that look like they fell from the moon. You cannot carry the plastic remnants of a world that hasn't happened yet. You must shed your modern skin. You must bury the synthetic, the bright, and the plastic deep within the earth. Before the first golden light of dawn touches the forest floor and reveals your secret to a world that would fear you and hunt you, you must find a way to disappear. You must become part of the mud, part of the wool, and part of the smoke. You must prepare your body and your mind for the masquerade. The forest is deep, but the morning is coming, and you have much to hide before the village wakes and the first church bell tolls. You must prepare to become someone else entirely, a pilgrim, a peasant, a ghost. You must learn to blend into the gray light before the world finds you out. The weight of the dark is lifting, and soon you will have to walk among the people of the past. Diushirai la ben fantig va kash biendi vit li cho unansie thredagadito chio gaucho history for sleep. Bunch gando kanimish history. Hash 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 1. Fantig va zosan mmc 3. Up akash beyanum gshi kash beyanami duga poyad puyanande ta ba de v du dig di tse they vi noi bin pi, tian thon, koch bnmi, bat inenge ta te hai. Han han dogonk shon, gurga odont, shon go. Dadi unai tio, dogonoikun. Engagement, tam enalang ma, korn lam di. Kau endea, bridge, kau enifotio, koanglen, burklok, ar etite, no honkshe, laka tuts, si, a, m. Nate shadung, ma la, s, ebtca, mt, de, den, de, emde, da, zang, emru. Kahashe, im, uo, ka, pgse, tron, file txt, don hier ki don team qua, manawaman falfos in gui, hien flogge. Flog death. Beyond m ido, b, ens r, guhim, tan, m hemiti up, llc, jub n, nha, cmtt, a, vatibo, vo, vatia, al bon, tia, a, b, d, a, b, a, bat, a, la, b. An shelon ki tia, ma nab, tri si, do wen hap si do gom, me, do go to for tordash. 500, 5, 0 ki, t, t, ve, msc, tio, kunt, twat. 0 ki tia hing, shungta, si andogal. Salhan, vao, cm. Diak, si, in, gao, ti, ki, shin. Vowel, dot, ses en and ho, ana. Elle. Ao, goan. N-A, si, Rishi Fontan, si, en, chas. Si, u, tro, jal, l, n, p, do, d, l, n, p, l, p, l, e, a. Gedingem. Kiriai. 8-2. Toriu. 210. Vemikau. Dion Bay. Long Bayan Shekas. Chitit. Diakwan Sham Rani. Dojanian. Tanto Torta. # 2. Vit NNMC 3. Under the forest's canopy. Hoan Chan A. Ta Tendontoa. 0 Kiti. Angon Shung. Tingan Goika'a. Second person Poaf. Find a hollow tree, a place where the shadows are thickest, where the ancient roots are gnarled like the knuckles of a sleeping giant. This is your first sanctuary. In this world, a stranger is not a guest. A stranger is a riddle, a threat, or a target. You are a jagged edge of a future that has not yet been cut. But here, beneath the sprawling, protective canopy of these ancient oaks, you find a small, dark pocket of absolute privacy. The leaves above are so dense they weave together like a thatched roof, blocking out the cold starlight and creating a cathedral of living, breathing wood. Here, in the velvet blackness, you are no longer a time traveler. You are simply a creature of the earth seeking cover. Kneel down. Move slowly. Feel the cold, damp earth between your fingers as you begin to dig. Use your hands. Feel the grit beneath your nails, the snap of tiny roots, the coolness of the soil that has remained undisturbed for decades. You must make a grave for your former life. One by one, you remove the artifacts of the 21st century, the things that define who you used to be. Your sleek, synthetic jacket with its waterproof zippers and reflective logos that would shine like a demon's eye in the moonlight. Your watch with its ticking mechanical heart and its cold stainless steel band that measures a time that no longer exists here. Your wallet, filled with plastic cards and paper money, brightly colored talismans of a fallen civilization. Even your shoes, with their rubber soles and engineered foam, must be committed to the dirt. This is the ritual of the safe zone. As you bury these things, you are burying the you that knew how to navigate an app, but doesn't know how to survive a frost. You are burying the version of yourself that lived by the second, and you are preparing to meet a version of yourself that lives by the rhythm of the seasons. Push the cool, dark soil over the plastic. Press the moss back down, smoothing it over with your palms until the ground looks undisturbed, as if you were never here. The earth is a patient, silent witness. It accepts your offerings and hides your secrets without a single whisper of judgment. As you sit back on your heels, breathing in the deep, heavy scent of disturbed loam and rotting leaves, a chilling but quiet thought settles into your mind. This forest is beautiful, yes, but it is not free. In your time, the woods were a place for hiking, for leisure, for a weekend escape. But here, every branch, every blade of grass, and every roaming deer is accounted for. The forest belongs to the lord of the manor, or perhaps to the king himself. To be here, gathering wood or resting your head, is a crime of trespass against the crown. But to be seen to be caught in your modern skin, speaking a tongue they do not recognize, wearing colors they have never imagined, is a death sentence. In an age where the unknown is often equated with the divine or the demonic, you cannot afford to be a curiosity. You must be invisible. You must be the shadow that moves within the shadow. But do not let this weight crush you. Do not let it wake your mind from its drift. Look up at the branches above you, swaying almost imperceptibly in the high midnight wind. The trees do not judge you. They do not care about the laws of lords or the shifting, bloody borders of human kingdoms. These oaks were saplings when the Romans left these shores, and they will be giants long after the kings of this age are nothing but dust in the wind. They have stood here for centuries, watching empires rise and fall, watching the slow, agonizing crawl of human history with a silent, woody indifference. To the forest, you are just another heartbeat, another fleeting pulse of warm life seeking a place to rest. There is a profound, holy safety in that indifference. You are hidden in the ribs of the world. The trees offer you their silence as a shield. They offer the rhythmic rustle of their leaves to drown out the sound of your breathing. There are no prying eyes here, no cameras, no digital footprints left in the cloud. You have been effectively erased from the timeline. The persistent anxiety of the modern world, the constant, nagging feeling of being watched, rated, analyzed, and tracked begins to dissolve into the cool forest floor. You are safe because you are forgotten. You are secure because you have vanished into the green. From the heavy bundle you scavenged in the dark, you pull out a new skin. It is a coarse, itchy wool cloak, dyed a dull, muddy brown with the juice of crushed walnuts. It smells deeply of wood smoke, of old rain, and the faint, musky scent of sheep. It is not comfortable. It does not wick away moisture or breathe like the technical fabrics of your home. It is heavy. It is rough. It feels like a burden across your shoulders, a physical weight that reminds you of the gravity of your new reality. But as you wrap it around yourself, pulling the oversized heavy hood low over your eyes, you feel a profound shift in your spirit. The wool is scratchy against your neck, but it is warm. It is the texture of the 14th century. It is your new home. This cloak is your armor against the biting cold, and your disguise against the coming light. Under this heavy, honest weave, your modern heart beats in secret. You are no longer an outsider. You are a pilgrim in the making. You are a shadow wrapped in wool, waiting for the gray, misty light of a world that has no idea you are coming. The forest is quiet now, the only sound the distant, lonely hoot of a tawny owl and the soft, repetitive creak of branches rubbing together in the dark. You lean back against the solid, unmoving trunk of the hollow tree, the wool pulling tight and warm around your knees. The transition is complete. The safe zone has been established. You are a shadow, a ghost, a traveler from a dream. You are safe. You are hidden. You are exactly where you need to be. The night is holding you close, protected by the ancient canopy and the weight of the rough fabric that hides your soul from the world. Rest now. The woods are your guardian. The silence is your sanctuary. You are just a breath in the dark, pulse in the wood, a secret kept by the oaks. As the wind whispers through the high canopy, it tells you that the modern world was the dream, and this the cold, the wool, the earth is the waking reality. Let yourself drift. Let the weight of the cloak become the weight of sleep. You are safe. You are hidden. You are home. The sky above the jagged, uneven line of the ancient oaks begins to shift, turning a deep, bruised purple, the heavy, saturated color of a fading plum. The stars, which only hours ago felt like sharp, cold shards of ice against the velvet black of the midnight hour, are now beginning to dissolve into a thick, misty charcoal gray. This is the moment between worlds, the thin veil, where the modern reality you once knew completely evaporates, and the medieval reality begins to harden into something undeniable. And then it happens. The sound that defines the very soul and rhythm of this entire century, the first bell of a distant monastery toll. It is a deep bronze vibration that rolls like a physical wave over the damp, unplowed fields, through the silent frozen hollows of the forest, and deep into the very center of your chest. This is the prime, the first heartbeat of medieval time. It is not a summons to a digital meeting, nor a sharp synthetic reminder of a schedule printed on paper. It is the world itself drawing its first cold breath. In this century, time is not something you track on a glowing wrist or a flickering screen. It is a living thing that echoes through the morning air, felt in the marrow of your bones and the steady rhythm of your blood. You stand perfectly still, letting the resonance of the bronze bell wash over you, feeling the way the sound anchors you to this soil, this year, and this very moment. It is a slow, grounding pulse that tells your brain to stop searching for the future and to start existing in the now. The vibration of the bell seems to linger in the mist, a hum that settles into the earth and into your very soul, letting you know that you are no longer a guest of the future but a resident of the past. You pull the heavy, scratchy wool hood of your new cloak lower over your brow, feeling the rough, oily fibers graze your skin. The weight of the fabric is a constant, grounding reminder of who you must now become to survive. Step out slowly from the sanctuary of your hollow tree. Your movements must be cautious and deliberate, mimicking the slow, heavy swaying of the ancient branches above you. The forest floor is slick with dew, and every step requires your full attention. As you crest the slow rise of the hill, the village reveals itself below you, not as a map on a screen or a set of GPS coordinates, but as a living, breathing organism emerging from the thick, rolling white fog of the valley. It is a cluster of timber, wattle, and golden straw, huddled together for warmth against the vast, untamed wilderness that stretches out in every direction, seemingly without end. The thatched roofs are dark with moisture, and the smoke from the morning fires begins to curl upward, mingling with the heavy mist in a dance of gray and white. Watch the world begin its slow, mechanical rotation. There are no engines here to roar into life, no tires to hiss on wet asphalt, no invisible humming of a distant electrical grid vibrating in the walls of your home. Instead, there is the long, agonizing, and rhythmic creak of ungreased wooden cartwheels. A low, mournful moan that carries for miles in the perfect stillness of the clear morning air. It is a sound that has existed for 1,000 years and will exist for hundreds more. Listen to the heavy, synchronized breath of the oxen, massive, slow-moving beasts with steam billowing in white plumes from their damp nostrils in the morning chill. Their heavy hooves thud against the soft, yielding earth with a dull, primeval finality that makes the ground beneath your feet vibrate with a quiet strength. Each breath they take is a testament to the slow, enduring labor that builds this world, a rhythm that demands you slow down your own frantic heart. In the small, narrow slits that serve as windows in the timber cottages, you see the first flickering of tallow candles. It is a dim, yellow light weak, dancing and fragile, struggling bravely against the encroaching gray of the dawn. These are not the bright, sterile, flickering lights of your modern home. This is the light of animal fat and dried reed, a soft, fluttering defiance against the immense, crushing darkness of the world. You see the dark silhouette of a woman emerge from a low, thatched doorway, throwing a wooden bucket of gray wash water onto the mud of the street. You see a man leaning heavily against a wattle fence, his breath a white cloud in the air, staring at the horizon with a kind of patience that feels completely alien to your modern, frantic mind. He is not waiting for a notification or a signal. He is simply waiting for the sun to tell him the day has begun. There is no hurry in his stance, only a quiet acceptance of the inevitable cycle of the light. As you observe them from the deep, velvet shadows of the hedgerow, a profound and quiet realization settles over you. This is the reveal that shifts your entire understanding of human existence. People here do not look at a clock to see what they should do next. They do not live by the minute, the second, or the microsecond. They look at the sun, the tilt of the pale, watery light, and the slowly lengthening shadows on the weathered stone wall of the parish church. Time is not a series of digital numbers. It is a physical, tactile presence. It is the height of the sun in the sky, the length of a shadow on the dirt, the slow and predictable cooling of the morning air. They are not chasing time. They are living inside it, moving at the speed of a walking ox, a growing blade of grass, or a falling leaf. The frantic, ticking anxiety of your future, the constant, nagging need to be elsewhere, has no grip on this damp, sacred soil. You are free from the tyranny of the second hand. You are safe within the slow embrace of the season. Follow their rhythm now. Let the lingering tension of the 21st century drain from your shoulders, flowing down your arms and into the cold mud beneath your feet. Walk slowly, slower than you have ever dared to walk in your modern life. Your modern hurry, your habitual haste to be productive, to arrive, or to achieve, has no place in this century. To rush is to be noticed. To rush is to be an outsider, a threat, a ghost. Here, the fastest thing in the world is the wind, and everything else simply waits its turn. The mud dictates your pace. The weight of your heavy wool cloak dictates your posture. You are becoming a silent, invisible part of the slow, grinding machinery of the 14th century. Feel the gravity of the earth pulling at your boots, reminding you that here, every step is an act of intention. There is nowhere else to be but exactly where you are. Feel the cold morning mist clinging to the rough, oily wool of your cloak, turning the brown walnut-dyed fibers to a darker, heavier shade of umber. The air is thick and rich, saturated with the smell of damp hay, old wood smoke, and the earthy, sharp scent of livestock, the honest, unrefined smells of a world that is purely organic, purely functional, and entirely real. There is a strange, quiet acceptance growing in your heart. The modern world is becoming a fading echo, a ghost story you once told yourself in another life, a dream of glass and steel that has no place among these ancient oaks. The only reality that exists now is the cold in your toes, the weight of the fabric on your back, the rhythmic ache in your legs, and the silver light catching the morning dew on the intricate spider webs in the hedgerows. You are being woven into the fabric of this morning, becoming a shadow among the shadows, a breath among the mist. You find yourself standing near the edge of a narrow village path, your body blending perfectly into the deep velvet shadows of an old stone wall. The stones are cold and damp under your touch, covered in a soft layer of lichen that has taken centuries to grow. You aren't thinking about your bank account, your social standing, your digital identity, or the news of the day. Your mind is beginning to simplify, to shed its unnecessary layers, to narrow its focus down to the most basic, honest of human needs. The staggering, exhausting complexity of the 21st century is being stripped away, layer by layer, until only the core of your humanity remains. You are just a soul, standing in the mist, waiting for the warmth of the light to touch your skin. Your thoughts are becoming as slow and steady as the rising sun, drifting away like the smoke from the cottage chimneys. The silence is broken only by the rhythmic, distant, metallic sound of a blacksmith's hammer hitting an anvil and the soft lowing of a cow in a nearby barn, calling out to be milked. These sounds are not noise. They are the soundtrack of survival. They are repetitive, steady, and strangely hypnotic. They tell you that life is continuing, as it always has, and as it always will, regardless of the kings who sit on distant thrones or the plagues that sweep across far-off lands. You are safe in this eternal loop of time. You are hidden in plain sight, a shadow moving among the morning shadows, a ghost walking among the living. The world is indifferent to your origins, and in that indifference you find the ultimate peace. You are allowed to simply be. Breathe in the mist. Feel it cool your throat and settle deep in your chest, grounding you to the very air of this ancient land. Breathe out the future. Let every memory of the digital world, every deadline, and every phantom notification go. Let them dissolve into the gray fog. And then, as the sun finally breaks over the jagged eastern horizon, painting the tops of the thatched roofs in a thin, pale gold, a new sensation takes hold of your body. It isn't fear, and it isn't wonder. It is a deep, hollow, ancient ache in the center of your chest. Hunger. Real, physical, demanding hunger. It is a sharp companion that grounds you even further into this physical reality. You are no longer an observer. You are a participant in the struggle for life. Your stomach growls, a sound that is as old as the human race itself, a signal that transcends all of time and history. It is the most honest thing you have felt in years. The scent drifts toward you again, stronger now, carried on the rising heat of the new morning. It is the smell of boiling grain-thick, fermented oats and salted pottage. It is coming from the monastery gate down the road, where thick, white plumes of steam rise like prayers against the ancient lichen-covered gray stone. The scent is like a tether, a physical cord of hope pulling you forward, leading you away from the safety of the trees. and toward the very first test of your disguise. You move toward the smell of the grain, your feet finding the rhythmic, sucking pulse of the mud, your heart beating in perfect, quiet time with the bronze tolling of the distant bell. The morning has accepted you. The mist is your shroud. The old world is waiting to be fed, and you must join the line of the hungry, the tired, and the faithful if you are to survive until the sun sets again. Step, ... Pause. Step, ... Pause. The monastery gate grows larger in your vision, a fortress of faith in a world of uncertainty. The steam rises higher. The bell tolls one last time, and the world remains perfectly, beautifully, and agonizingly slow. You are walking through history, one heavy, mud-caked, purposeful step at a time. You are here. You are present. You are exactly where the shadows need you to be. You are exactly where the past intended for you to find your rest. You move toward the monastery gate, merging into a slow, silent line of travelers and pilgrims. Keep your head down. Let the heavy, shadowed hood of your cloak hide your modern eyes that have seen too much of the future, eyes that are still searching for a world of glass and light. Here, in the gray morning mist, you must be no one. You must be a shadow among shadows. In this world, a person who looks too directly, too boldly, is a person with something to hide. But a person who keeps their gaze fixed on the mud and the stones is simply another soul seeking the grace of a warm meal. Let your chin rest against the rough wool of your collar. Feel the dampness of the air on your forehead, a cool, invisible hand calming the last flickers of your modern anxiety. The line moves with an agonizing, peaceful slowness. There is no jostling here, no impatient checking of watches, no frantic energy of a world in a hurry. There is only the rhythmic, steady shuffle of feet on worn stone, and the soft, repetitive sound of heavy breathing in the cold air. As you approach the massive timber doors of the almonry, the warmth begins to reach out to you, not the dry, artificial heat of a radiator, but a living, breathing warmth born of oak logs and boiling water. Carries with it the thick, heavy scent of wood smoke and the ancient, honest aroma of fermented grain. It is the smell of a sanctuary that has fed the hungry for 500 years without fail. When you finally reach the front of the line, a pair of hands emerges from the steam. They are the hands of a monk, weathered, calloused, and scrubbed clean with cold water. He reaches for a wooden bowl from a stack nearby, a bowl that has been smoothed by the touch of thousands of fingers before yours. He ladles a thick, pale pottage into the wood, the steam rising in a great white cloud that momentarily veils the world. He hands the bowl to you, his movements steady and practiced, a dance of charity that he has performed 10,000 times before. As your fingers wrap around the bowl, a profound reveal settles into your heart, cooling the heat of your fear. The monk offering you this food does not ask for your name. He does not ask for your origin, your status, or your purpose. He does not seek to know the secrets hidden beneath your hood or the strange year from which you fell. To him, in this sacred moment of giving, you are not a stranger, not an anomaly, and not a threat. You are simply another soul in God's care, a hungry traveler deserving of bread and salt. In his silence, you find your greatest protection. In his indifference to your identity, you find your true safety. You are invisible because you are loved as a nameless brother. Take the bowl to a long, dark bench made of solid oak, polished to a dull shine by centuries of woolen tunics. Sit down. Feel the solid, unyielding weight of the wood beneath you. This is a place of communal silence, a hall where the only language spoken is the quiet clinking of wooden spoons against wooden bowls. Look down at your meal. This is not the refined, processed food of your time. This is pottage, a thick, hearty stew of hulled barley, wild leeks, and a handful of dried herbs gathered from the monastery garden. There is a fine grit to it, a reminder of the stone mills that ground the grain, a reminder that this food came directly from the earth. Lift the wooden spoon to your lips. The first taste is overwhelming in its simplicity. It is warm, salty, and tastes deeply of the soil and the rain. It is the taste of survival. As the hot grain slides down your throat, you can feel the warmth spreading through your chest, radiating outward to your shivering limbs. It is as if the very fire that boiled the pot is now being transferred into your blood. The deep, biting chill of the forest night begins to thaw. Your fingers, once stiff and pale, regain their color as the heat of the bowl seeps through the wood and into your palms. You are being anchored to this century, one spoonful at a time. The physical reality of the food is a bridge, crossing the gap between the world you lost and the world you have found. The hall is filled with the soft, repetitive sounds of 100 people eating in unison. It is a hypnotic, steady rhythm that pulls the mind towards sleep. There are no conversations to follow, no news to process, no digital static to filter out. There is only the steam rising toward the high, blackened rafters, the dim yellow light of the tallow candles, and the heavy, comforting weight of the wool cloak around your shoulders. You find yourself staring into the depths of your bowl, watching the way the light catches the ripples in the grain. Your mind begins to drift, moving at the slow, thick pace of the pottage. The complexity of your old life, the passwords, the schedules, the endless stream of information seems like a frantic, nonsensical dream. What matters now is the warmth in your belly and the solid ground beneath your feet. You are no longer an outsider looking in. You are part of the collective breath of the room. You are part of the long, unbroken chain of humanity that has sought shelter and sustenance in the gray light of the morning. The monk moves through the hall with a pitcher of small ale, his footsteps near silent on the stone floor. When he fills your cup, he offers a small, nodding gesture, not of recognition, but of shared existence. You drink the ale, and it is cool, thin, and slightly bitter, washing away the salt of the pottage. Your body feels heavy now, but it is a good heaviness, the weight of a creature that has been fed and protected. The world outside the monastery walls is waking up. You can hear the distant, muffled sounds of the market, beginning to stir the call of a vendor, the barking of a dog, the rhythmic thud of a hammer. But here, inside the hall, the time remains frozen in a state of grace. You stay for a moment longer than necessary, just to feel the lingering heat of the bowl in your hands. You are no longer the panicked traveler who woke up on the moss. You are a man or a woman of the 14th century, grounded by the grain and the wood. The forest was a place of fear, but this hall is a place of routine, and it is within the routine that you will find your way. With a full stomach and a calmed heart, the world beyond the gate feels less hostile, less like a labyrinth, and more like a path. The hunger was a distraction, a sharp edge that kept you on the verge of panic. Now that the edge has been blunted by the monk's charity, you can think, you can observe, you can begin to understand the rules of this place. The sun is higher now, casting long, pale shards of gold across the stone floor of the almonry. It is time to leave the sanctuary. You stand up, your movements feeling more certain, more fluid. You return the bowl and the spoon to the wooden crate by the door, a silent thank you offered to the shadows. As you step out of the monastery gate and back into the cool morning air, the scent of the market drifts toward you, on a stronger breeze. It is the scent of leather, of iron, of raw wool, and of silver coin. It is the scent of the town's heart. Now that your body has been sustained, it is time to see how this world truly breathes. It is time to move toward the center of the village, to the place where the secrets are kept and where the money flows. You wrap your cloak tight, pull your hood forward, and step out into the light of a morning that finally feels like yours. The market square reveals itself not as a place of frantic noise or modern stress, but as a vast, shifting, and deeply hypnotic mosaic of mud, stone, and ancient commerce. As you step into the open space, the very nature of the air seems to change, becoming thick and charged with the steady, pulsing energy of 1,000 small human transactions. There is a specific melody here, a chant of the cellars that has played out on this cold stone floor for generations without end. The voices rise and fall in a predictable rhythmic wave, the sharp calling of the fishmonger, the low, steady hum of the weaver, and the distant, repetitive clinking of iron tools against wood. It is a symphony of human survival, a repetitive loop of effort that fills the space around you without ever breaking the deep, underlying peace of the morning. You find that you do not need to understand the words. You only need to feel the cadence of the life moving around you. Walk with a slow, deliberate pace along the edges of the stalls, letting your eyes rest gently on the rich, tactile textures of the trade. In this world, everything is measured in things you can touch, smell, and weigh in your hand. To your left, you see high, soft stacks of raw wool. It still carries the faint, earthy scent of the misty hills and the lingering memory of the rain. The fibers are thick, cream-colored, and slightly oily to the touch, waiting patiently for the wooden spindle to turn them into thread. You stand there for a moment, watching the way the pale sunlight catches the individual strands of wool, creating a halo of soft light around the pile. It is a simple thing, yet in its repetition and its stillness, it is profoundly beautiful. Next to the wool, you find the glint of salted fish, laid out in neat, shimmering rows upon wooden planks. The silver scales catch the morning light, reflecting 100 tiny mirrors that dance as you move past. The fishmonger's hands move with a precision that can only come from decades of the same motion. He reaches, he salts, he lays the fish down. He reaches, he salts, he lays the fish down. There is no wasted movement, no hurry, only a quiet, mechanical grace. Watch the rhythm of his fingers. It is a micro-detail of existence that repeats until the boundaries of your own mind begin to soften. You are no longer a stranger in a strange land. You are a witness to a dance that has no beginning and no end. The world here is built on these small repeating acts of care and labor. Further down the row, you encounter the stall of the ironmonger, a place of weight, shadow, and cold metal. Small, hand-forged iron nails are piled high into shallow wooden bowls, thousands upon thousands of them. Each nail is slightly different, marked by the strike of a unique hammer. Yet together they form a massive, uniform collective of strength. You reach out and pick one up, feeling the cool, rough surface against your thumb and the sharp, honest point at its end. This is the hidden skeleton of the medieval world, the small iron things that hold the great halls together and keep the ships on the sea. The sharp metallic smell of the iron mingles with the scent of damp sawdust and wood shavings on the ground. Everything here has a weight. Everything here has a purpose. You feel a strange sense of security in this tangibility, a relief that the world is made of things that do not flicker or disappear. The math of this world begins to swirl around you like a gentle, misty rain. But you find that you do not need to solve it. Let the numbers wash over you without effort. You hear the soft, musical clink of groats, pence, and shillings changing hands in the shadows of the stalls. A groat for a bushel of grain, a penny for a heavy loaf of rye, a shilling for a thick hide of leather. It is a confusing, ancient arithmetic that feels more like a slow poem than a financial transaction. You reach into the small, hidden pouch tucked deep beneath your wool cloak, feeling the thin, cool, and smooth surface of a single silver penny. This small, humble disc of hand-struck metal is a revelation of immense power. In this century, this single silver penny is not just a coin. It is a week of life. It could feed you, house you, and protect you for 7 full sunrises and 7 full nights. But as your fingers trace the uneven edge of the silver, you feel the weight of the secret it carries. To show this coin too boldly, to let it glint too brightly in the eyes of the square, might mark you as something other than a humble pilgrim. It might suggest you are a thief, or perhaps a traveler with secrets far too valuable for the mud of this village. Keep it hidden. Let the cool weight of the silver stay pressed against your skin, a silent, secret anchor that keeps you tethered to the earth while the world moves around you. As the sun climbs higher in the pale sky, the gentle heat begins to draw the deeper scents out of the ground and the timber. The smell of freshly baked rye bread, thick, dark, and sour, drifts from a nearby stone oven. The scent of tanned leather, pungent and earthy, rises from the shoemaker's bench where he works with a curved needle. But as the crowd grows slightly thicker, your focus is pulled toward a low doorway tucked into a quiet, shadowed corner of the square. Inside, you see the steady, mesmerizing, and repetitive motion of a weaver's loom. Focus all of your attention on that rhythm. The wooden shuttle flies through the vertical warp threads with a soft, sliding sound that feels like a whisper in the back of your mind. Back and forth, back and forth. The weaver's entire body moves in a perfect, ancient harmony with the heavy wooden machine. Her feet press the treadles in a steady beat. Her hands catch the flying wood, and the heavy comb beats the new thread into place with a dull, satisfying thud. It is a cycle that feels as though it has been happening since the dawn of time. Back and forth. The fabric grows, thread by thread, a slow, inevitable accumulation of human patience and silent intention. Watch the way the light catches the stray golden fibers of the wool as they are pressed into the growing weave. The motion is utterly hypnotic. It mirrors the slow, steady beating of your own heart. It mirrors the rising and falling of your breath as you stand in the doorway, forgotten by the world outside. Back and forth. The noise of the market fades into a distant, meaningless hum, leaving only the weaver, the wood, and the thread. You find yourself swaying slightly in time with the shuttle, captured by the loop, your mind shedding the very last remnants of the frantic future. There's no time here, only the fabric. There is no worry here, only the rhythm of the work. You are learning the greatest lesson of this century. That peace is found in the repetitive motion of the hands. The square is a forest of human intention and quiet dignity. You see a young boy carrying a heavy load of firewood, his steps measured, slow and heavy. You see an old woman sitting on a stool, spinning flax with a simple drop spindle. The wood twirls in a constant dizzying circle near the ground, never stopping, never faltering. Spin, drop, wind. Spin, drop, wind. The repetition is everywhere you look. It is the very foundation of peace in a world defined by hard physical labor. The people here are not bored by the repetition. They are sustained and comforted by it. They find their place in the loop of the day, and they stay there, anchored to the physical world by the things they make and the paths they walk. You move through the soft mud, your own boots making a quiet, rhythmic sound that joins the invisible choir of the square. You are no longer an observer of this chaos. You have become a part of its ancient rhythm. The modern world, with its frantic, disjointed bursts of information and its hollow digital noise, feels like a fever dream that has finally, mercifully broken. Here, life is a long, slow, and honest song, and you have finally learned the melody. You understand now that the market is not a place of stress, but a place of profound connection. The wool from the silent hills meeting the salt from the distant sea, all held together by the silver in your pouch and the steady sweat on the brow of the worker. But as the midday sun begins to beat down more firmly on the thatched roofs, casting shorter, sharper shadows, a new longing begins to arise within you. The sensory richness of the market, the heavy smells of fish, the metallic tang of iron, and the scent of unwashed wool starts to feel heavy and thick in your lungs. Your spirit begins to crave a different kind of quiet, a place where the air is filtered through cool green leaves and where the scent of the earth is tempered by something sweeter, something more medicinal and ancient, away from the rhythmic, mechanical noise of the loom and the calling of the sellers. A small, arched stone gate catches your eye at the far end of the square. Beyond it, tucked behind the high, protective walls of an infirmary, lies a quiet, hidden garden. Even from here you can see the tops of green herbs swaying gently in the breeze, calling to you with a silent promise of rest. It is a place of healing, a place where time moves even slower than the weaver's shuttle, and where the ancient secrets of the earth are kept in the deep roots and the soft leaves. You take one last, long look at the shimmering silver scales of the fish and the dark, heavy piles of iron nails. You feel the silver penny in your pocket one more time, safe, cold, and hidden. Then you turn your back on the commerce of the world and step toward the green light of the garden. The transition is beginning. You are moving from the world of trade to the world of healing, following the scent of lavender, rosemary, and damp earth into the deepest, most profound silence you have ever known. Your journey into the heart of the past is deepening, and the garden is waiting to wash away the dust of the road and the noise of the crowd. Step away from the chant of the sellers. Step away from the motion of the loom. The garden gate is standing open, and the silence is calling your name, inviting you to finally, completely let go. Your mind is quiet. Your heart is steady. You are ready to enter the sanctuary of the green. The arched stone gate of the infirmary garden closes softly behind you, muffling the rhythmic chaos of the market square until it is nothing more than a faint, distant hum, no louder than the buzzing of a single honeybee in a field of clover. Here, in the apothecary's garden, the air itself feels transformed. It is cooler, filtered through 1,000 layers of green leaves, and heavy with the grounding scent of damp earth, crushed stems, and growing life. You realize, as you stand in the very center of this emerald sanctuary, that in this world, every leaf has a name, and every name is a silent prayer whispered to the soil. There is no such thing as a weed here, every sprout pushing through the dark, rich. Loam is a gift, a carefully placed ingredient in the great living pharmacy of the earth. Step deeper into the garden, where the rows of plants are organized with a sacred geometric precision that mirrors the order of the stars above. You are greeted by the herbalist, a man whose hands are permanently stained with the deep juices of roots and the fine silver dust of dried petals. He does not ask for your story. nor does he seek to know the world you left behind. He simply gestures to a low wooden stool, smoothed by years of use, and a pile of freshly harvested plants. He speaks in Middle English, a language that sounds like the gentle rustle of dry leaves, soft, melodic, and strange to your ears, yet perfectly understandable to your soul. He points to the lavandre, the sage, and the rosemary. To him, these are not just simple plants. They are the virtues of the earth, celestial powers captured in green stems and fragrant blossoms. Begin the work. It is a task of profound simplicity and deep intellectual peace. Reach for a bundle of dried lavender. The stems are brittle, snapping with a soft, clean sound that feels satisfyingly tactile beneath your fingers. Your task is to strip the tiny, purple buds from the stalks. Move your fingers slowly, rhythmically, down the length of the stem. Feel the rough texture of the dried flowers and the sudden, fragrant release of their scent as they fall into the wooden bowl below. Strip, drop, repeat. Strip, drop, repeat. The scent of lavender begins to rise in a localized cloud around you. A fragrance so pure and concentrated that it feels like a physical weight pressing gently against your forehead, smoothing away the invisible lines of worry and modern haste. Next to you sits a heavy mortar made of dark, cool basalt, accompanied by a stone pestle that has been worn smooth by decades of circular motion. The herbalist places a handful of black peppercorns and dried cloves into the bowl. Start the grind. Feel the initial resistance of the spices as the stone meets the stone. Do not rush the process. This is not a task to be finished. It is a rhythm to be lived. Round and round. The sound of the mortar and pestle is a deep, grounding vibration, a low-frequency hum that anchors your mind to the present moment. You can feel the vibration traveling up your arm, through your elbow, into your shoulder, and finally settling in the center of your chest. Round and round. The spices begin to break apart, releasing a sharp, warming heat into the air. The black spheres turn to a fine, aromatic dust, swirling in the late afternoon light. As you watch the slow transformation of the herbs, a profound reveal begins to settle into your consciousness. What your world calls science, this world calls grace. In your old life, a pill was a chemical compound, a sterile product of a distant factory. But to the people in this quiet garden, a flower is a miracle you can hold in your hand. They believe the shape of a leaf the way a lungwort leaf looks like a human lung, or the way a bright eyebright flower resembles a staring eye, is a signature from a higher power, a clue left in the dirt to tell them how to heal the body and the spirit. There is an immense, quiet comfort in this worldview, Dada warned. You are not living in a random, chaotic universe. You are living in a garden of secrets, where every plant is a friend waiting to tell you its ancient purpose. The herbalist brings you a bundle of dried sage. The leaves are soft and fuzzy, like the ears of a small, sleeping animal. As you begin to crush them slowly between your palms, the scent clouds your mind in a gentle, hazy way. Breathe it in. Let the sharp, clearing aroma of the sage fill your lungs, reaching into the hidden, dusty corners of your thoughts and settling them like dust after a storm. There is no need to think about the complexities of your journey. There is no need to wonder how the mechanics of time have brought you here. There is only the sage. There is only the stone. There is only the green world and the steady pulse of your own breath. The garden is a place of deep focus on the mundane, the small, and the beautiful. You spend what feels like hours sorting seeds tiny, dark specks of poppy, and mustard moving them from one ceramic jar to another. Each seed is a promise of future healing. Each jar is a vessel of quiet hope. You find yourself fascinated by the micro details, the way the light catches the silver fuzz on a mullein leaf, the way the water droplets from a recent watering cling to the serrated edges of a mint sprig like liquid diamonds. Your brain, so used to the rapid-fire, exhausting stimulation of the digital age, begins to thrive in this slow-motion reality. It is as if your mind is finally being allowed to expand into the quiet spaces between the leaves, finding a home in the silence. The sun is beginning to dip lower in the sky now, casting long, emerald-colored shadows across the raised garden beds. The golden light hits the stone walls of the infirmary, turning the gray granite into a warm, glowing amber that seems to pulse with its own internal heat. The herbalist begins to gather his jars, his movements as slow and rhythmic as the grinding of the spices. He offers you a small linen sachet filled with the very herbs you have prepared, a gift of protection and peace for the coming night. You tuck the sachet into the heavy folds of your cloak, the scent of lavender and sage following you like a gentle, invisible guardian. The air is growing colder now, the sharp edge of the evening beginning to bite through the mist. The birds in the high rafters of the monastery are beginning to settle into their nests, their chirping growing softer and more infrequent. The intellectual peace you have found in the garden is a shield against the growing shadows of the world outside. You realize that you have learned more in these few hours of silence than in a lifetime of noise. You have learned the language of the leaves. You have learned that the earth is not something to be conquered or analyzed, but something to be listened to with a quiet heart. As the herbalist leads you back toward the gate, the world outside the walls feels different, softened by the transition of the light. The sounds of the market have faded into a memory, replaced by the deep, resonant ringing of the evening bells. The safety of these walls will soon be locked for the night, the heavy iron bolts sliding into place to keep the darkness at bay. You feel a quiet, steady readiness in your heart. The garden has prepared you. The rhythm of the mortar and pestle has calibrated your pulse to the speed of the earth. You step out of the green sanctuary and back onto the stone path, a silent watchman of the ancient world, ready to face the coming darkness with the scent of grace still clinging to your hands, and the peace of the garden etched into your mind. Etched into your mind. Etched into your mind. Breathe in one last time. The sage, the lavender, the damp earth. They are part of you now. The sun is sinking, the gates are closing, and the long historic night is about to begin its descent. You are safe. You are grounded. You are home in the heart of the garden. Every breath you take is a thread in the great tapestry of time, woven with the scent of herbs and the promise of rest. The shadows are long, the light is gold, and the world is finally, mercifully, quiet. Your journey through the day has reached its twilight, and the stillness of the stone is waiting to hold you. The path beneath your feet feels solid and certain. The weight of the herbal sachet in your pocket is a small, warm comfort against the evening chill. As you walk, you notice the way the light catches the moss between the cobblestones, turning each tiny patch of green into a miniature forest. The world is full of these small wonders, hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to move slowly enough to see them. You are that someone. You are the one who has slowed down. You are the one who has found the rhythm. And as the final rays of the sun disappear behind the cathedral spire, you know that the darkness is not something to fear, but a velvet blanket, ready to cover the world in a deep, restorative sleep. You return to the monastery as the shadows stretch long, thin, and elegant across the cold stone floor of the ancient cloister. The sun, once a golden sovereign ruling the sky, is now nothing more than a dying ember, behind the jagged silhouette of the cathedral, casting a final melancholic violet glow over the world you have navigated today. Each step you take on the worn, hollowed flagstones feels significantly heavier than the last, a rhythmic, dull thud that echoes the slow settling of the earth itself as it prepares for the night. Your boots, caked with the dried gray mud of the market and the fine green dust of the herbalist's garden, feel like heavy anchors now, grounding you to this century, this solid stone, and this immense peace. You are no longer moving against the grain of time. You are flowing with it, returning to the only sanctuary that knows how to keep a secret for 1,000 years. As you enter the arched walkway of the cloister, the sound of the world outside, the distant, muffled lowing of cattle, the fading calls of the village children, and the creak of the last cart begins to dissolve into a profound, sacred silence. Then from the deep, cool darkness of the chapel, the monks begin their evening Vespers. It is a low, rolling hum of Gregorian chants, a collective vibration that does not just fill the air, but seems to emanate from the very marrow of the stone walls themselves. The voices are deep, monophonic, and ancient, rising and falling in a tidal rhythm that matches the slow, unconscious expansion of your own lungs. You stand in the gathering shadows, leaning your tired shoulder against a cool granite pillar, and let the resonance of the Latin syllables wash over you like a warm tide. You do not need to translate the words. The meaning is held within the vibration. It is a lullaby for the adult soul, a steady, unwavering frequency that tells your weary nervous system that the day is done, the work is finished, and the light of the world is no longer required. A deep, overwhelming reveal begins to weigh upon your spirit, softening your heart. You are exhausted, not merely from physical labor, not from the walking or the sorting of herbs, but from the sheer immense weight of existing in the past. To live in this century is to carry the gravity of the earth itself without the filters of technology or the constant, frantic cushions of the modern world. Your brain, once a loud, buzzing machine of data, light, and invisible signals, has been completely recalibrated by the speed of the walking ox and the steady, patient rhythm of the weaver's loom. The effort of holding onto your modern self has finally, mercifully surrendered. You are tired in a way you haven't felt in years, a clean, honest, and heavy fatigue that starts in the very soles of your feet and moves upward like a rising mist to cloud your eyes with a gentle, comforting darkness. You are ready to stop being a traveler. You are ready to simply be a part of the stone and the shadow. The herbalist's linen sachet in your pocket releases one last, concentrated breath of lavender, sage, and dried rosemary as you move toward your small, quiet cell. The room is tiny, a perfect cocoon of gray stone, lit only by a single flickering tallow candle that casts long, dancing shadows against the arched ceiling. There is no bed here of metal springs or synthetic foam. There is only a simple, thick straw mat, laid directly upon the solid, ancient earth. Lay down now. Move with a deliberate slowness, feeling the true weight of your limbs as they finally give up their hold on the day. As you settle onto the mat, the straw is prickly and crisp against your skin, a sharp tactile reminder of the summer harvest, but it is solid. It is real. It is honest. Beneath the straw, the floor of the monastery is an extension of the mountain itself, unyielding, cool, and eternal. You are safe here. Within these massive walls, 3 feet of solid hand-carved masonry separate you from the wildness of the night and the mysteries of the forest. You are wrapped in the invisible protection of 1,000 years of silent prayer and the heavy velvet silence of the cloister. Close your eyes. Let the sound of the chanting from the chapel become a distant, watery echo, a sound from another world. Your breathing begins to slow of its own accord, synchronizing with the low, steady frequency of the stone walls. In this medieval world, the night is a total entity, a physical presence. It is not merely a pause between activities. It is a return to the origin of all things. You listen to the silence, and you realize it isn't empty. It is a thick, protective, and heavy blanket. The scent of the candle smoke, the faint, acrid, and earthy smell of burning animal fat begins to fade as the flame burns lower and lower. One by one, in the long vaulted halls beyond your heavy oak door, the candles are being extinguished by a passing shadow. The world is returning to the void, shedding its colors, its sharp shapes, and its frantic commerce. One candle goes out, and the far corner of your stone room disappears into the black. Another goes out, and the shape of the wooden stool fades into a soft, indistinct gray. The darkness is not a predator here. It is a healer. It is the original darkness of the world before the first fire was ever struck, a darkness that demands absolutely nothing from you. You feel your heartbeat slowing, becoming a calm, steady, and muffled drum in the quiet of the room. The prickly straw beneath you seems to soften and melt as your body grows heavier and heavier, sinking deeper into the patient embrace of the earth. The weight of the 14th century is no longer a burden. It is the heavy, warm quilt that covers you, shielding you from the frantic, electronic noise of the future you left behind. The final chant ends in the distance. The last vibration of the monks' voices lingers for a fleeting moment in the stone, then evaporates into the cool, still night air. The silence that follows is absolute, heavy, and beautiful. You are no longer a watchman. You are no longer a witness to history. You are just a single breath in the dark. The safety of the monastery is the safety of the womb, dark, warm, and perfectly silent. There are no clocks ticking away your life, no lights blinking with demands, no invisible signals searching for your attention. There is only the long, slow, and inevitable transition from existence into peace. The very last candle in the hallway is snuffed out by a gentle breath. The light vanishes completely. The world has returned to the void, and you have returned with it, your spirit merging with the ancient shadows. Your mind is a blank slate of cool gray stone and the fading scent of lavender. You are safe. You are tired. You are deep within the sanctuary of the past. The gates of the world are locked. The fires are out. The night has claimed its own, and you are among them. Sleep now in the steady ancient heartbeat of the monastery. Sleep in the absolute silence of the stone. The history of the world continues its long, slow march without you, and you are finally, mercifully at rest. The void is soft. The void is deep. The void is kind. Good night, dawn watchman. The sun is gone, and the dream is all that remains. Every muscle is loose. Every thought is still. You are floating on a sea of centuries, drifting into the deepest sleep you have ever known. The stone holds you. The darkness loves you. Sleep, sleep, die. Sleep in the total, unyielding, and absolute dark of your small stone cell. You begin to realize exactly how much unnecessary noise you used to carry inside your head. It wasn't just the physical sound of the modern world, the constant, distant hum of engines, the persistent chirp of digital devices, the restless roar of a city that never truly sleeps. It was a heavy, psychological static. It was a constant, flickering storm of what-ifs, should-haves, and the endless, exhausting pursuit of not-enoughs. But here, wrapped in the thick, velvet, and protective silence of the 14th century, that storm has finally run out of wind. The darkness here is not an empty space. It is a solid, comforting, and nurturing weight that presses gently against your eyelids, urging them to stay closed. It is a darkness so profound and so pure that you can no longer tell where your physical body ends and the cool, damp air of the monastery begins. You are slowly, peacefully dissolving into the shadows, becoming one with the ancient stone, the dry straw, and the eternal night. Let your mind drift over the incredible, breathtaking simplicity of this new life you have found. In this room, in this singular moment, there are no bills to be paid, no urgent emails waiting for a response, and no digital ghosts demanding your attention from a glowing artificial screen. There is no internet, no global news to disturb your peace, and no frantic pulse of a world trying to happen all at once. There is only the physical, honest reality of the cold, solid stones beneath your mat, and the soft, rhythmic breath of the fellow traveler sleeping in the quiet cell next to yours. That breath is the only clock that matters now, a slow, steady, and natural rise and fall that echoes the tides of a world that moves by the seasons and the stars, not by the frantic tick of a millisecond. You feel a deep, melancholic, yet profoundly healing peace settle over you, a quiet realization that most of what you once thought was vital was merely a loud distraction from the simple, beautiful, and sacred act of existing. As you lie there, a final and ultimate reveal takes hold of your spirit, stripping away the very last lingering layers of your modern identity. You aren't a time traveler anymore. You are no longer a visitor from a distant future, no longer a stranger hiding behind a woolen hood, and no longer an observer of a dead history. The mechanics of how you arrived here, the logic of the transition, and the memories of what was have all faded into total insignificance. They have become as thin, as transparent, and as fleeting as a morning mist under a high summer sun. In the perfect darkness, you are simply a human being. You are a quiet collection of warmth and breath, resting deeply in the 14th century. You belong to this soil. You belong to this heavy silence. The labels of your old life, your job, your social status, your digital footprint have all been bleached away by the absolute, uncompromising honesty of the dark. You are just a soul, stripped of its modern armor, finally finding its original primal rhythm in the deep heart of the past. Your modern life, with its glass towers, its high-speed connections, and its neon lights, begins to feel like a strange, disjointed, and impossible dream you once had. A vivid, feverish hallucination from another lifetime altogether. It feels distant and unreachable, like a story whispered in an ancient language you no longer speak or understand. This, the prickly, golden texture of the straw beneath your back, the deep, reliable chill of the stone walls, the faint scent of lavender fading into the honest smell of damp earth. This is the only truth that remains. This is the only reality that has the gravity and the weight to hold you. You find a strange, magnificent comfort in this total abandonment of the self. There is a quiet freedom in being forgotten by the future. You are untethered and weightless, floating in a vast sea of night where the only compass is the steady, slow, and reassuring beating of your own heart. Breathe in the stillness. It is heavy, cool, and ancient. Let it fill the spaces between your thoughts. Breathe out the dream of the future. Let the skyscrapers, the satellites, and the screens crumble into harmless dust in the very back of your mind. They cannot reach you here. They have no power over a soul that has found the sanctuary of the stone. They are gone, and you are here. The sounds of the monastery have all but vanished into the ether. The distant, rhythmic footsteps of the night watchman outside in the courtyard have finally stopped. He has found his place of rest in the shadows, his lantern extinguished. Even the ghosts of the past the kings you imagined, the knights in their iron, and the weavers at their looms, are all deep in their own sleep now, tucked away under their own blankets of heavy wool and golden straw. The entire world, from the highest, silent spire of the great cathedral to the deepest, hidden root of the ancient oak forest, has surrendered completely to the void. There is no more history to be made tonight. There is no more progress to be tracked. There is only the long, slow, and infinite duration of the dark. You feel your consciousness thinning out, spreading like a single drop of ink in a vast, black, and shoreless ocean. Your thoughts are no longer sentences. They are merely soft sensations. The coolness of the air on your cheek, the comforting weight of the woolen cloak. The solid, unmoving presence of the mountain beneath the floorboards. You are sinking deeper into the straw, deeper into the stone, and deeper into a sleep that is older than the very language you speak. The world of the 14th century is a quiet, loving mother, holding you in her arms, whispering into the silence that it is finally, truly okay to let go. You have traveled far enough. You have seen enough. Now, it is time to be still. The silence is absolute. The peace is total. The weight of the centuries is not a burden, but a warm, heavy blanket that keeps the world away. The last flickers of your thought are like dying embers in a cold hearth, a fleeting flash of a silver penny, the fading scent of crushed sage, the distant, ghostly sound of a bronze bell. And then there is nothing, just the dark, just the breath, just the stillness. You are drifting away from the shore of the conscious world, moving into the deep, dark waters of a dreamless rest. You are safe. You are tired. You are home in the heart of the past. The footsteps have stopped. Light is gone. The story is over. The void is calling, and it is kind. Sleep, sleep, sleep. The massive, invisible wheel of time continues its slow, celestial rotation, turning with a weight that is felt in the marrow of your bones. Yet here in the deep heart of the 14th century, the night remains exactly the same. It is a constant, a sacred and unmoving stillness that exists far outside the reach of kings, the clashing of iron, or the frantic, flickering inventions of the future. As you lie perfectly still on your simple straw mat, your eyes closed against the heavy velvet blackness of the cell, you realize with a quiet wonder that the darkness here is the very same darkness that will one day shroud the world you once called home. The night does not change. It does not evolve or age. Only we, the brief shadows walking through it, change. The darkness is the eternal anchor, and tonight it is holding you close. Through the tiny, unglazed slit high in the ancient stone wall, a final, ethereal whisper of the outside world reaches your senses. It is the light of the stars above England, cold, silver, and impossibly ancient. These are the very same stars you know from your own time, the same constellations that have guided sailors, pilgrims, and dreamers for 1,000 millennia. Yet in this century, without the orange, artificial haze of electric cities or the silver, mechanical flicker of satellites, they look so much brighter, so much closer, and so much more alive. They are like jagged diamonds scattered across a floor of pure obsidian, pulsing with a slow, rhythmic light that seems to synchronize with your own fading pulse. You are looking at the same ancient light that the herbalist saw, that the tired monk saw, and that you will see again when you eventually return to your own time. In this light, there is no past and no future. There is only the eternal present of the cosmos. And then, a profound and final reveal gently brushes against your mind like a soft, cool breeze in the dark. If you stay very, very still, you can feel the centuries overlapping like layers of silk. The heavy, cold stone of this medieval monastery and the soft, familiar fabric of your modern life are not separate realities. They are merely different folds of the same gray garment. The distance between then and now is nothing more than the space of a single, quiet heartbeat. You are here, deep in the sanctuary of the medieval night, and you are also home, safe and warm in your own bed. The boundaries of time have completely dissolved, leaving only the singular, beautiful truth of your existence. You are a bridge between worlds, a soul that is permitted to rest in the sacred gaps between the years. You are exactly where you belong. You are safe. You are whole. Sleep now. Let the long, heavy, and golden history of the human spirit wash over you like a warm, dark, and shoreless tide. There is no longer any need to understand the mechanics of the world, no need to witness its struggles, and no need to explore its paths. The journey of the day is finished. The work of the mind is complete. There is nothing left to do but surrender your weight to the earth and drift into the vast, silent ocean of the subconscious. The straw beneath you is no longer a humble bed. It is a soft, golden cloud. The stone walls are no longer cold barriers. They are the warm, protective embrace of a mother who has seen all of time. The world has finished its long story for today, and it is inviting you to close your eyes and finally become a part of its eternal silence. Your modern life is a distant, fading shore, and you are floating further and further away from it into the deep, restorative, and silent waters of the past. The weight of the centuries is